This is a Lego vending machine that dispenses a single 2x4 Lego brick when you insert a Lego dollar bill. But in order to get the dollar bill, you must first solve a 16-part puzzle cube armed with spring-loaded shooters, turning gears, and a giant Duplo brick, all of which is built directly into the vending machine. But to understand how we got here, we must go back 3 days to when I first started building. I originally had this idea about 6 months ago. I was really into puzzle cubes at the time and thought it would be cool to make a vending machine that doubles as a puzzle cube, but that also gives you something for solving it that can be used in the vending machine. So if you're not typically a Lego fan and are here to see this machine in action, I'm only going to spend the next minute and a half explaining how this machine was built, which I'll try to make as interesting as possible. This build actually took 2 tries to make, the first not making it very far before I scrapped most of it and started over. Normally I would only show the first attempt at the project, but I spent a bunch of time syncing the building process to music, so I'm gonna put it in anyways. But I didn't end up using any of this for the finished model. Once I was on the right track with the colors and structure, I decided to drop a plan using my original drawing as a reference, and maybe possibly didn't stick to it for the whole model. I built the 6th through 10th steps first because it was the only part I was really sure would work. Essentially, there's a spring-loaded button on the side of the machine that once you push allows a knob to be turned and another button to be pressed, releasing a tool to be used further on in the project. It took multiple attempts for almost everything, and at some point I decided to switch from a soda vending machine to a Lego brick vending machine because it would be much simpler to pull off and definitely make more sense. I slowly built up the walls of the machine, deciding everything from the outside design and colors to the inside mechanism as I went, not even giving my original plans a second thought. But finally, after 3 days of work, it was all complete, and if you zoom in on the big brick at the top, you'll see it says, "Subscribe please, I'm donating 1 cent to Team C's for every subscriber I get for the next month." With the build finished and everything working as it should, I put one of my relatives up to the challenge of solving it. He started off by just messing around with whatever things could be messed around with and quickly found the first step, which is to spin a gear, which will make a gear shaft come outwards, which can be used in the next couple of steps. Then, by pushing the gear rack into a small beam on the other side of the vending machine, the gear popped out of its spot, which is too small for human fingers and simply spins in place with the use of the gear rack. But he didn't know that. And by sliding part of the vending machine wall to the right, you reveal a little compartment that when the gear is inserted and spun dispenses a short axle to be used in the next couple of steps. The axle and gear then can be combined to make a knob that is used on the other side of the machine. However, when it is pushed into the hole, it will not turn, and that's because there is a spring-loaded button that pops back into place as soon as you let go. The only way to get the knob to turn is to hold down the button and then spin it to the left, which opens up for the second button to be pressed, releasing a gray Technic pin. The Technic pin can be used in another small hole that when pulled outwards launches a Lego spring-loaded missile in the direction of the solver. I may have neglected to mention that to him before he started solving it. And of course, I didn't forget all the slow-mos of the missile launching. Enjoy. And even though it may seem pointless, this missile is not just for show. It can then be slid into a 1x1 hole in the side of the vending machine that when pushed, a piece of Lego money comes out the other side. And if you've made it this far, you fully deserve to be able to insert the piece of money into the vending machine and get your 75-cent Lego brick. In order to get all of the mechanisms to work, I had to go out of my comfort zone, and only by using pen springs, Technic beams, and a bunch of random parts for the interior was I able to make all of this work. The hardest part probably being the coin and brick dispensing system. Building something without any motors or sensors that has to be able to activate from a single Lego piece is very difficult, but by using an assortment of Technic pieces and an axle to act as a central turning point, I could convert the force of the money going into the machine to push in the opposite direction. The brick is attached by a single stud at the bottom corner so that you don't have to push very hard with the money to dispense the Lego piece. And as for the coin, underneath the money slot is a chute that guides the coin into the change tray. And next to the money is a plate with a hole just right for fitting the coin in. And the sideways push generated when the money gets pushed in creates a big enough gap to let the coin fall down. But that's the home model, and a lot of people have asked me when I showed this to them if it dispenses a different brick every time, and the answer to that is sadly no. But if you want me to try and make a vending machine that actually dispenses a brick depending on which button you press, then 1,000 likes and I'll do it, because I need some time to think on how that's even possible. I love anything that involves helping the environment, so that's why I pledged in the last video that I would donate 1 cent to Team C's for every subscriber I got for the next 30 days. We're down to about 22 days and up to almost 200 subscribers, which is $2 to Team C's, so 2 pounds of trash out of the ocean. If we get 1,000 in the next 22 days, that'll be $10. That would be really cool. Subscribe.